Hi there guys, welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Show with me, your host, Simon Conboy. This episode's continuing on with the draft preview series, beginning the NFC South today and starting with my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you've not seen one of these before, what I'm doing is I'm going through the team's primary needs heading into the draft, with free agency having ended, discussing some of the moves that were made there to address previous needs. Which player I've got selected in the first round mock, offering up suggestions to other players that could be taken or hopefully will be available for said team at that spot, and then doing the same with rounds 2 and 3, just going through what players may be available at those positions of need and where they may look to go. So the Bucks, their primary needs at this point, I've got safety, running back and cornerback. Now there is a mild shout out to couple other spots. This team does not have a huge amount of depth. I think they still need a receiver, and they also need to bring in a guard, especially because there are rumours that Ali Marpet, the guard, may be moving to centre, and if that's the case, then guard will probably trump corner on this list as a need. So bear that in mind, but these are the needs I've got listed. I used to have defensive tackle there, however the Chris Baker signing I feel has addressed that. Looks like a good rotation in the defensive interior for Tampa heading into next season now. So in order to address those needs, I've got the team selecting Christian McCaffrey in round 1 in my mock draft, the running back from Stanford. Very good player, incredibly well-rounded skill set, one of the most polished receiving backs I have possibly ever seen coming out of college. Great hands, dynamic runner, which the team's not had in a while, even when Doug Martin was playing well. He's not the most dangerous back in terms of taking it to the house, not the most elusive, fairly power-oriented game. I think he's combined very well with Charles Sims in terms of having two backs that can contribute in that passing game and from a lot of formations. They could even easily use McCaffrey in the slot if need be. I think he'd be a wonderful fit in the offense. However, I think there are bigger issues for the team than running back, especially considering how deep this draft is at that spot. There's a lot of good runners. They could easily wait, even if they're not going to get a talent like this in later rounds. I think the team should definitely consider Cam Robinson if he's available at that spot. I think they could plug him in at a guard spot immediately and upgrade the offensive line, and then potentially move him to tackle in future. DeMar Dotson's not going to be in the league for a huge amount of time at right tackle. He could take that spot. He could even potentially overthrow Donovan Smith as the left tackle, move Smith to right tackle in the future. Who knows? But I think he should certainly be a consideration and could be an immediate impact starter for the Buccaneers. I think they'll also consider Forrest Lamp. I would love to see that happen. I think he's going to be a very solid player in the NFL. They could also look at some of the other corners that are available. Gurion Connolly would probably be best value if he's available at that spot, but I'm not sure it's something that they look to do. In the unlikely event one of the top 2 safeties falls, then I'd imagine they would snap one of those 2 up, but I can't see Hooker or Jamal Adams falling to this spot. In round 2, I simply think they'll look to address these same needs. Whichever need has not been addressed in round 1, I think defensive back Desmond King would make a lot of sense. He could play potentially safety or corner for them. Buda Baker's the guy I'd like to see, but again, I'm not sure he'd be available for them in round 2. Kevin King, Marcus Williams, he looks like a good safety prospect. I think he'd be a great selection in round 2 if he's available. Dan Feeney, the guard, again, don't think he falls that far. I think he gets snapped up in the first portion of round 2. He'd be great. Joe Mixon's the wild card at the running back spot. Some team, I think, is going to take a risk on him in round 2. It could be the Bucks. Donta Foreman would make a degree of sense as well. He'd give them a good back to build around. Round 3, running backs are hard, I think, in this draft, because due to the quantity of them, I'm not sure. In my mock for round 2 on Friday, I've sort of got a lot of them falling into round 3, and that could include guys like Donta Foreman, Kareem Hunt, TJ Logan. They could be selected in round 2. They could go in round 3. I'm not sure what's going to happen at that spot beyond the top 3 guys who I'm convinced will be gone by the 20th pick. Round 3, this is where I think the team may start also looking at receiver as an option. Juju Smith-Schuster, if they want to keep that, having 2 big physical receivers thing on the field like they had with Vincent Jackson when he's been healthy in the last 3 years. A guy like Cooper Kupp, he'd make some sense. Curtis Samuel, Zay Jones. I don't think Zay Jones gets out of round 2 in particular. Same is probably true for Curtis Samuel, but I think he'd be available for the team in round 2 if they were to look in that direction. I think even Posich would be great value for them in round 3. Even would be worthy of consideration in round 2 simply because he can play the guard and the centre spot, and again I think he could be a day 1 contributor for the team, and that kind of versatility on the interior of an offensive line is a great asset for a player to have and incredibly useful for the team to have. So that's the Bucs. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree with these team needs? Which players would you like to see the Bucs consider in the draft? Who do you think could look good in the pewter? Personally, I really want to see that offensive line addressed. It's not been discussed too much, but I do think it is something that needs to be done. Cam Robinson in round 1. That's my hope. It really is. Do you guys think that's a terrible idea? Let me know whether it's in the Facebook comments below, the Facebook Cover Zero page, or find me on Twitter at Simon Conboy. I'll do my utmost to get back in touch with everybody who does get in contact. As always, if you could like, share, subscribe these videos, it'd be greatly appreciated. Rest of the NFC South will be up today and tomorrow, doing the Falcons next, Panthers and Saints tomorrow, then the AFC South on Wednesday and Thursday. Got an episode of Cover Who coming up. If you haven't seen that, I've only done 1 episode of it so far, but it's going to be a long running series where I cover players who that people have somewhat forgotten about but were very, very, very good players. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You'll have to tune in to find out. That should be going up tomorrow. And also a quarterback quandary with the draft coming up. It's going to be one of my series. I'm going to do a fair few of these in the build-up. And this episode will be focusing on the Texans. That should be up on Thursday. And Friday will be the weekly review along with my 3rd round mock draft. So check all that stuff out. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, go Bucs.